Hi, this is Jim Kavanaugh, recording for you on January 2nd, 2025. I'm online as The Polemicist. You can find me at thepolemicist.net, on X, Twitter, and at my Substack, Jim Kavanaugh's Substack. Well, I'm here to wish everybody a Happy New Year. I kind of gotta say that, though I don't think it's going to be very happy. It's always foolish to make predictions, but I'm not afraid of making a fool of myself, so I'll give it a shot. I'm going to talk about some of the disasters I predict we Americans and the rest of the world are going to face in 2025. Let's start with the intensification of a couple of wars that we are currently waging. First, there's the coming war on Iran, an extension of the ongoing war we are waging to eliminate the Palestinian people and ensure the Zionist project of Greater Israel. That's actually a campaign of genocidal colonial slaughter involving, among other atrocities, the deliberate mass murder of children via sniping, bombing, and freezing to death. An unprecedented and unbearable crime against humanity. They are succeeding in that crime. And unless there is a major military defeat of Israel involving significant damage to Green Line Israel by the end of 2025, Gaza and the West Bank will be largely Arab-free, and the only people left in at least northern Gaza will be Jewish settlers. And there'll be 1 million plus Palestinians who have been dispersed around the world via humanitarian emigration. In that context, since, one, Iran is the only remaining nation in the region capable and perhaps may be willing to inflict such damage in Israel, and since Israel and the United States have been planning an attack on Iran for over 15 years, see my linked article below, and since there has already been reciprocal attacks between Iran and Israel on each other's territory, and since Israel and the United States feel more omnipotent and unrestrained than ever after a year of unchallenged genocide in Gaza and the sudden elimination of the Syrian state as a support of Iran and the Palestinians, and since Israel is assured of the support of the present and incoming American president and Congress, such an attack is inevitable. Such an attack of Israel with the United States on Iran is, I think, inevitable, and soon. In fact, though Israel has no doubt about the support it will receive from Donald Trump, who brags about how he's controlled by his Zionist donors, Israel may very well launch an attack on Iran before Trump's inauguration. Why not take advantage of the confusion of transition when nobody even knows who's in charge? And don't forget, as I've said many times, Israel will use nuclear weapons against Iran. They know Iran is strong and getting stronger, and nukes are the only arms Israel thinks could set Iran back 10 or 20 years. Who's going to stop Israel from using such weapons? Who's going to punish Israel if it does? The war with Iran is predictable, but the level of catastrophic damage it will bring to the region and the world is not. The second major war will result from the ongoing limited war now being waged between the US and Russia in Ukraine, a war in which what's at stake is nothing less than the end of the United States world hegemony. This war is fast approaching a resolution that will be an undeniable defeat for the United States and NATO and an undeniable victory for Russia. That resolution will be unacceptable to any American president, including Donald Trump, for whom America first means not just that American people should put America first, but that the whole world should recognize America's preeminence. Nothing Donald Trump has ever said or done, nothing in the character of the people he's building his administration with, and nothing in the deep state he is going to be serving indicates anything other than a passionate commitment to American exceptionalism. Anyone who's hoping for something else, and there are some people, not only in the United States, but I think in places like Ukraine and Europe and Russia who are, anyone who's hoping for something else is kidding themselves. We're talking about someone who wants to take over Panama and Greenland. He's not going to give up Europe. Trump and his team, no less than Biden, Sullivan, Blinken et al., are psychologically and politically embedded in the post-Soviet idea of American supremacy and Russian weakness. They're still partying like it's 1999. They still think they can intimidate, bluff, or cajole Russia into accepting some kind of frozen conflict deal that will preserve the idea that the United States did not and cannot lose. The problem is that Russia is not weak. It is winning on the battlefield. It has escalation dominance in this theater, and it will accept nothing less than the irreversible recognition of Crimea and the four oblasts as Russian territory and a permanent neutral non-NATO status for any remaining Ukrainian state. There is no way to prevent that unacceptable and undeniable defeat other than via direct American military intervention with nuclear weapons. To repeat a crucial point that's often overlooked, the party in the conflict that needs to resort to nuclear weapons is the party that's losing the conventional battle, and that is not Russia. That's why this escalation, this new major war, is even more likely to come to a head before January 20th. The Kiev regime, which doesn't trust Trump, will go all out before then to either provoke Russia into doing something extremely destructive or create a false flag nuclear event that can be blamed on Russia in order to force the US and NATO to get directly involved and force the hand of Trump to maintain that involvement when he becomes president. So those are two prospects of an imminent catastrophic war to open up the new year of 2025. Let me add a third sleeper scenario that I wouldn't be surprised to see coming alive in 2025 or soon thereafter, given an administration with a loudly anti-Marxist president and creepy anti-communists and anti-socialists like Little Marco and Elon, Mr. We will coup whoever we want, deal with it, Musk. That is some kind of US military-backed regime change in Latin America, such as in Venezuela or Cuba. They might see that as an irresistible, easier pickings to take on, again, to reestablish the idea of American supremacy. Speaking of our would-be master of the universe, the other disaster we're going to confront starting in 2025 is the Musk, Ramaswamy et al. Austerity agenda. I'm glad to see the ruling class, working class MAGA coalition starting to come apart over the H-1B visa program. There is no more ridiculous or pernicious element of American political life than the, quote, billionaire populism, of which MAGA is the latest example. A right anti-woke versus left woke version of hiding class contradiction. If your socioeconomic life depends on a wage or a salary, the billionaire ruling class is your enemy, and they know it if you don't. For them, you are an expendable insect. The Trump administration is of and for the billionaire ruling class, and whatever specific good or bad policies it pursues, its general socioeconomic program will increase inequality, billionaire power, and working class weakness. It will be a program of enrichment for the ruling class and austerity for the working class. The sooner everybody realizes that, the better. But everybody who wants to fight that austerity program had better understand and refute its widely accepted premises, which are spewing from Elon daily, such as the country is going bankrupt, all spending is taxation, government spending causes inflation, we must cut spending, profit-making private enterprise is superior to wasteful public programs and institutions, etc. To combat this, we must know and say that the federal government creates dollars and can pay any debt in its own currency and is not going bankrupt. That the federal government creates dollars and puts them into the economy by spending. That taxes do not pay for federal government programs. That it's not tax and spend, but spend then tax. that the purpose of taxation is not to pay for programs, but to control inequality and inflation. That taxes are dollars that the federal government has already spent into the economy and retrieved. That the federal government's deficit is the economy's surplus, and it would make no sense for the federal government to retrieve all the money it had created and sent into the economy every year. That the United States government is not a business and not a household, and we shouldn't expect it or want it to be run like that. I'll have more to say about this in a future video, and you can see some of my previous posts that I'll link below. But right now, let 2025 be the year in which everyone who wants to resist what is going to be a right-wing assault on the lives of most Americans, that Elon Musk has announced will cause misery. Anyone who wants to resist that had better stop using the words and get out of the framework of taxpayer dollar. If you stay in that framework, you will lose. It's important. Dollars do not come from taxpayers. The good news, if there is any, there is some good news. The good news is that they, the United States, the so-called West, and the Zionists are completely discredited. In the face of the Gaza Holocaust they've been perpetrating and the Syrian jihadi revolution they've been applauding, no one can stomach another word from them about human rights or democracy. The world's majority despises them. They are also overextended. They cannot manage all the wars and conflicts they're taking on as comfortably as they like to think. Even the Syrian situation, which was an immediate victory for Israel, is starting to get very sticky. Can they hide that the ISIS-Al-Qaeda jihadism that tore up New Orleans is the same that the U.S. created, that Hillary Clinton told us the United States created, that tore up and now runs Syria with our approval? Can they hide that for-profit health insurance companies kill more people than Luigi Mangione? Can they, the richest people in the world, get away with the assault on Social Security, Medicare, and other social programs under the guise of fiscal responsibility, while they continue to send tens of billions of dollars to Israel and Ukraine? We'll have plenty of opportunities to resist successfully if we understand and argue for a sane, peaceful, multipolar world, and for a social economy organized for the main purpose of assuring everyone's health and economic security, while we stay completely independent of the two ruling class political parties and their allied media that are going to be relentlessly trying to lure us with distractions from our principal tasks, which are to end American imperialism and Zionism in the world and to end the rule of the capitalist oligarchy in the United States. So, Happy New Year. Let's make it so. Thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel here, and follow me on the Substack, my Substack or Twitter. Happy New Year.